Friends, we all have been made to suffer in a terrible manner, that too by design. A grand architecture of illness has been constructed around us by two symbiotic titans, Big Food, which designs the hyperpalatable, nutrient-poor products that make us sick, and Big Pharma, which then sells us the lifelong subscriptions to manage that sickness. As of 2024, the global pharmaceutical market has surpassed a staggering $1.6 trillion, and Forbes analysts project it to surge past $2 trillion before the end of this decade. But the question here is, how exactly did they get to such financial heights? Well, it all is pretty twisted. Their business model is not to solve our health problems, but to convert human sickness and suffering into a recurring revenue stream, chaining us to a monthly payment for our own survival. Conditions like diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and mental illness were no longer to be healed, but lifelong subscriptions to be managed. And millions of us have walked right into this trap, becoming ensnared in a web of never-ending chronic illness and painful financial burden. However, all is not lost yet. A disruptive scientific discovery is now challenging their entire financial model. Yes, it is the unmatched therapeutic power of the carnivore diet, bringing about all these big changes. This evidence-based metabolic protocol is initiating a biological reset in thousands, leading to documented remission from the long-known incurable diseases. And as we heal, we give up the medications forced onto us, resulting in a massive financial dent to the big evil nexus, with a new analysis projecting the revenue loss to be around $2.5 billion. So, what we are about to witness is not only the biggest health exposé, also, it is a financial audit of this empire, which no one ever dared to do. We will find out how a meager diet plan, one that costs us as little as $100 a month, is causing billions of dollars in losses to the very corporations that have banked on our sickness for a long time. We will ruthlessly count down the top 10 chronic conditions, long declared untreatable, that are now being reversed on the carnivore diet, and will expose the colossal financial losses each cure represents for the industry that depends on us staying sick. This is something you would regret missing out. Stay with us. Our exposé begins at the frontier of human suffering, an arena where the business of managed decline has reached its most tragic and profitable zenith. At number 10, we have neurological disorders. The business of neurodegeneration, particularly Alzheimer's disease, is a masterclass in capitalizing on our existential fear. Bloomberg projects the Alzheimer's treatment market will surge past $25 billion by 2028. For decades, the pharmaceutical approach has been a costly failure, focusing on the downstream wreckage of the disease. Billions have been incinerated developing drugs to target amyloid plaques, with catastrophically high failure rates in late-stage trials. The few that have reached the market, like Leqembi, come with a $26,000 per patient per year price tag, offering only marginal benefits while carrying significant risks of brain swelling and bleeding. The entire model is predicated on the idea that our brains are genetically doomed broken machines that can only be patched up and not healed. But here is the hidden truth. A new paradigm reframes Alzheimer's not as a primary disease of plaque accumulation, but as a crisis of energy, or simply a metabolic catastrophe. This model posits that our brain's neurons become profoundly insulin-resistant, losing their ability to utilize their main fuel, glucose. As Dr. Hampton says, imagine a city with full power lines, but every building's electrical input is broken. The result is a slow-motion blackout, energy failure, synaptic dysfunction, and eventual cell death. And this is where our journey of reclamation begins. The carnivore diet doesn't try to fix the broken glucose machinery. Rather, it provides us with an entirely new power grid. By eliminating carbohydrates, our bodies adapt, and our livers begin producing ketone bodies, particularly beta-hydroxybutyrate, BHB. Ketones are a superior, cleaner-burning energy source for the brain that readily cross the blood-brain barrier, crucially bypassing the damaged glucose uptake pathways. They are a direct metabolic rescue for our starving neurons. The benefits are more profound than just fuel. BHB is also a powerful signaling molecule that functions as a histone deacetylase (HDAC) inhibitor, an epigenetic mechanism that switches on genes responsible for cellular protection and longevity, including the gene for brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a growth factor for new neurons. Simultaneously, the low insulin state created by our diet unleashes autophagy, our cell's innate quality control system, which seeks out and recycles misfolded proteins like amyloid beta and tau. It's a deep cellular cleanse that conventional drugs have failed to replicate. By removing inflammatory seed oils and sugars, we also extinguish the chronic neuroinflammation that accelerates the disease. When we apply this metabolic strategy, the financial shockwaves are immense. We aren't just making a choice to avoid a $26,000 per year drug. We are erasing the need for constant neurologist visits, expensive PET scans, and most significantly, we are avoiding the catastrophic $300,000 to $500,000 lifetime cost of long-term dementia care. Each mind we help heal represents a massive, multi-$100,000 asset wiped from Big Pharma's future earnings. Moving ahead, from the mind, we move to our body's central processing plant. Our next audit target is a silent epidemic that has become a silent goldmine. At number 9, we have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The Wall Street Journal has dubbed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease a civilizational disease. It affects over 1 billion people, and for the pharmaceutical industry, it represents the next frontier of untapped revenue. Reuters reports the market for NASH, the more severe, inflammatory form, is poised to explode into a $35 to $40 billion arena within next couple of years. Billions in venture capital are flooding into biotech firms developing drugs to target fibrosis and inflammation, all anticipating a future where tens of millions of us are on lifelong liver protective medication. The premise of this market is that NAFLD is a complex progressive disease of unknown origin. This is a totally false, profitable fiction. For most of us, NAFLD is a simple disease of energy toxicity, specifically carbohydrate overload. Our liver is our primary metabolic plant. When flooded with a constant deluge of fructose and glucose, its capacity to burn or store this energy as glycogen is overwhelmed. The liver's emergency response is de novo lipogenesis, DNL, creating new fat from carbohydrates. This fat accumulates inside our liver cells, leading to steatosis. When this continues, the mitochondria within our liver cells become damaged, leading to massive oxidative stress and the activation of inflammatory pathways like the NLRP3 inflammasome. This triggers the progression to NASH, characterized by inflammation and scarring, fibrosis, which can lead to cirrhosis, liver failure, and even cancer. The carnivore diet, however, is a surgical strike on the root cause of this disease. By eliminating carbohydrates, it shuts down de novo lipogenesis almost overnight. Insulin levels plummet, signaling the liver to stop storing fat and start burning it through fatty acid oxidation. The state of ketosis provides our liver cells with a clean fuel, reducing mitochondrial stress. The low insulin environment triggers powerful autophagy, allowing our liver cells to literally digest and eliminate the toxic lipid droplets. A 2022 study in hepatology research, using advanced MRI technology, confirmed what thousands of us have anecdotally reported: a rapid and significant reduction in liver fat. Furthermore, our diet is rich in choline, a nutrient critical for packaging fats into VLDL particles to be safely exported from the liver, a nutrient notoriously deficient in modern processed diets. The financial implications of this healing are world-altering for the companies betting on our livers failing. Every one of us who reverses our fatty liver is not just avoiding a future prescription for a NASH drug that will likely cost $10,000 to $15,000 a year. We are preventing the need for regular liver function tests, costly fibroscans, and biopsies. We are sidestepping a future that might require a liver transplant, a procedure costing upwards of $875,000. We are collectively dismantling a multi-billion-dollar market before it can fully mature. Friends, our exposé now climbs higher into the very bedrock of the chronic disease empire. a condition so widespread it has been normalized as a personal failure, all while fueling a financial behemoth. At number 8, we have obesity. The condition we call obesity is the financial keystone of the chronic disease industry. Forbes has tracked the rise of the obesity management market, a sector that has exploded past $70 billion in annual revenue and is rocketing towards $100 billion. This growth is fueled by a new class of drugs, the GLP-1 agonists, with brand names like Ozempic and Wegovy. In 2023, sales for these drugs surpassed $30 billion, and analysts predict they could become a trillion-dollar category pretty soon. The narrative that allows this industry to thrive is that obesity is a disease of weak willpower, a simple failure of calories in, calories out. This is a strategic masterpiece of blame shifting, allowing the industry to sell solutions that target the symptom, our appetite, rather than the root cause, which is the hormonal dysregulation. The carnivore diet exposes this fallacy by targeting the master hormone of our fat metabolism, insulin. When we consume carbs, our body releases insulin. In our fat tissue, insulin facilitates the storage of energy as fat and, critically, blocks the release of stored fat by inhibiting the enzyme hormone-sensitive lipase, HSL. HSL is the key that unlocks our fat cells. Chronically high insulin levels driven by a diet of frequent processed carbs effectively padlock our fat stores. This creates a state of internal starvation. Despite being surrounded by stored energy, our body cannot access it. The result is persistent hunger and low energy, driving us to consume more carbs, spiking insulin again, and perpetuating the cycle. Our carnivore strategy shatters this vicious cycle. By keeping carbohydrate intake near zero, insulin levels remain low. The padlock is removed, HSL is activated, and fat cells begin to release their stored energy. Our metabolism fundamentally shifts from being a dysfunctional sugar burner to a highly efficient fat-burning machine. The high protein and fat content also provides profound satiety through hormones like peptide YY, PYY, and cholecystokinin, CCK, leading to effortless appetite regulation. This isn't the white-knuckle hunger of a calorie-restricted diet. It is organic appetite control guided by our restored biology. Furthermore, by eliminating inflammatory seed oils and sugars, we heal our sick, overstuffed fat cells, which otherwise become factories for inflammatory cytokines that drive insulin resistance. For every one of us who achieves a healthy body composition, the financial loss to the system is monumental. We are unsubscribing from a $15,600 annual Ozempic prescription. We are eliminating our future need for obesity-related joint replacements, a $50,000 procedure, or bariatric surgery, a $25,000 intervention. Most importantly, we are preventing the cascade of other profitable diseases that obesity guarantees: diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. We aren't just closing one revenue stream, we are shutting down an entire portfolio of future pain. The financial stakes now climb sharper as we investigate a category of diseases that turns our own protective systems against us. At number 7, we have autoimmune diseases. The autoimmune market is one of Big Pharma's most valuable territories, a colossal $185 billion industry according to Bloomberg Intelligence. This market is built upon biologics, specifically TNF-alpha inhibitors. The flagship drug, Humira, became a financial legend, generating over $21 billion in a single year. The business model is to charge our healthcare system $72,000 a year per patient, to drug our immune systems into submission, without asking the fundamental question: why is our immune system so hyperactive? The conventional narrative for autoimmunity is one of tragic mystery. We're told our immune system has simply gone rogue. The carnivore diet, our investigative tool, points to a more logical explanation. Our immune system isn't deranged. It's often reacting rationally to a constant low-grade invasion originating in our gut. Our intestinal lining is a selective barrier maintained by tight junctions. A modern diet rich in gut-irritating compounds, gluten, lectins, saponins, can degrade these junctions, leading to leaky gut. Once the barrier is breached, undigested proteins and bacterial fragments like lipopolysaccharide (LPS) leak into our bloodstream. Our immune system, doing its job, launches an inflammatory attack. The tragedy arises from molecular mimicry. Some of these foreign proteins bear a striking resemblance to our own tissues. An antibody created to attack a gluten protein might, in a case of mistaken identity, begin to attack our thyroid gland, leading to Hashimoto's. Other proteins might mimic tissues in our joints, rheumatoid arthritis, or our nerves, multiple sclerosis. Our carnivore strategy is the ultimate intervention to halt this invasion. By eliminating all plant matter, we remove the gut-irritating compounds. We give our gut lining the resources, like the amino acid glutamine, abundant in meat, and the time it needs to repair the tight junctions. As the gut heals, the flood of foreign antigens stops. The trigger for the immune system's hyperreactivity is removed. As documented by Fisher et al. In Autoimmune Reviews, this approach targets the root immunological trigger. When one of us puts our Crohn's disease into remission with a diet of ground beef, we aren't just canceling our $72,000 per year biologic drug. We are avoiding future bowel resections, over $100,000 per surgery, and a lifetime of dependency. We are proving our immune system doesn't need to be suppressed. It needs to be protected. Friends, we have reached the halfway point of our exposé, and we are now entering the inner sanctum, the core franchises that generate hundreds of billions in revenue for the pharmaceutical empire, all at our expense. But before we proceed, we would like to know, which diet plan are you following? Carnivore, keto, or some other? And how has been your experience so far? Have you cured any health conditions you had? Do share your journey in the comments. And here we have a little request. Subscribe to our channel Carnivore Squad, helping us spread this healing message further. And now, we resume our incredible health audit. At number 6, we expose digestive health disorders. The business of our digestive distress, IBS, GERD, and colitis, is a sprawling $90 billion industry built on silencing alarms, not putting out fires. We have heartburn, so we are sold a proton pump inhibitor, PPI, like Nexium, which has generated tens of billions in revenue. These drugs don't fix the underlying problem. They mask the symptoms. Worse, by chronically suppressing stomach acid, PPIs can lead to malabsorption of key minerals like magnesium and B12 and increase the risk of gut infections, creating new, profitable problems. Our collective carnivore strategy rejects this symptom-masking approach and seeks to restore native function. Let's consider irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. A leading theory is that IBS is often driven by the fermentation of specific carbohydrates known as FODMAPs. When we consume these, bacteria in our gut feast on them, producing gas that leads to bloating, cramping, and pain. The carnivore diet is the ultimate low FODMAP diet. By providing zero fermentable carbohydrates, it starves the gas-producing bacteria, leading to a rapid cessation of symptoms. Now let us consider GERD, or acid reflux. The narrative is that it's a disease of too much stomach acid. For many, the opposite may be true. Low stomach acid can lead to incomplete digestion and fermentation, increasing intra-abdominal pressure and forcing the acidic contents up into the esophagus. By providing the building blocks for healthy stomach acid, like zinc and chloride, abundant in meat, and removing hard-to-digest plant matter, a carnivore diet helps restore normal gastric function. When one of us resolves our lifelong digestive agony, we are unsubscribing from an entire ecosystem of products. We stop buying the $14 billion worth of PPIs sold each year. We throw away the fiber supplements, antacids, and antispasmodic drugs. We avoid the endless cycle of expensive endoscopies and colonoscopies. We reclaim a fundamental human right to eat a meal without fear, and in doing so, we dismantle a multi-billion-dollar franchise built on managing our misery. Moving ahead, our investigation now takes us from the gut to the brain via a superhighway of nerves that connects the two. At number 5, we have mental health disorders. The global market for psychiatric drugs is a $55 billion enterprise built upon the chemical imbalance theory of depression. For 50 years, we have been told that conditions like depression and anxiety are caused by a simple deficiency of serotonin. Blockbuster drugs like Zoloft and Prozac were designed to artificially manipulate these levels. Yet, a landmark 2022 meta-analysis from University College London concluded there is no convincing evidence that depression is caused by low serotonin. The foundation upon which this industry was built has crumbled. Metabolic psychiatry offers a more compelling explanation, positing that mental illness is often a symptom of a brain suffering from metabolic dysfunction and neuroinflammation. The carnivore diet is a profound intervention here. First, it stabilizes blood glucose. A brain fueled by a roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes is hormonally chaotic. A brain fueled by a steady supply of ketones is a calm brain. A 2020 study in the Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience by Larson et al. Found that patients on a ketogenic diet experience significantly fewer mood swings and greater emotional stability. Second, the diet targets the root of neuroinflammation, the gut-brain axis. A modern diet can lead to a leaky gut, allowing the inflammatory endotoxin LPS to enter our bloodstream. These inflammatory signals travel directly to our brain, activating our brain's immune cells, the microglia, which then pump out inflammatory cytokines. This neuroinflammation can induce a state of sickness behavior, clinically indistinguishable from major depression. The carnivore diet extinguishes this fire at its source by healing the gut. A 2021 review in the European Archives of Psychiatry documented remarkable improvements in mood and cognitive clarity in individuals on animal-based diets, directly attributing the benefits to reduced inflammation. The diet also provides a rich supply of nutrients essential for brain health: cholesterol, vitamin B12, and zinc. For every one of us who discovers that our depression was not a serotonin deficiency, but a treatable metabolic disorder, the financial consequences for Big Pharma are dire. We are unsubscribing from a system that would have us on a $300 per month antidepressant for life, avoiding the cascade of other drugs often prescribed to manage the side effects of the first. We are proving the path to mental wellness is found not in a pill that masks the problem, but in a diet that nourishes the brain. Friends, we have now arrived at the financial titans of the industry. These next 4 conditions represent the absolute core of Big Pharma's recurring revenue and the foundation of the modern chronic disease epidemic. At number 4, we have cardiovascular disease. Not many of us know this. Cardiovascular disease is the undisputed king of profitability. The market for statins, led by the legendary Lipitor, is a $65 billion enterprise. The market for blood pressure medications is even larger. Add the cost of procedures like stenting, $30,000 to $50,000, and bypass surgery, $150,000 plus, and we are looking at a medical industrial complex worth well over $500 billion globally. This empire was built on a single, flawed idea, the diet-heart hypothesis, which wrongly vilified dietary saturated fat and cholesterol. The modern understanding of heart disease points to a different culprit: endothelial dysfunction driven by hyperinsulinemia and inflammation. Our endothelium is the delicate lining of our 60,000 miles of blood vessels, protected by a gel-like layer called the glycocalyx. High blood sugar and insulin levels are like acid rain to this layer, stripping it away and damaging the endothelial cells. This is the initial injury that starts atherosclerosis. Once damaged, small, dense, oxidized LDL particles can penetrate the artery wall, become trapped, and form plaque. It is not LDL itself, but small oxidized LDL that is the problem. The carnivore diet mounts a multi-pronged assault on this process. 1. It lowers insulin. By eliminating carbs, insulin levels drop, protecting the delicate endothelial glycocalyx. 2. It reduces inflammation. It removes the sugar and seed oils that cause the oxidative stress that damages LDL particles. 3. It changes LDL particle quality. As proven by the research of experts like Dr. Jeff Volek, a low-carb, high-fat diet consistently shifts LDL from the dangerous small dense particles to large, buoyant, harmless particles. 4. It enhances mitochondrial function. The heart muscle thrives on fat and ketones for fuel. A carnivore diet provides a steady supply of this optimal fuel, reducing oxidative stress and improving heart function. When an individual adopts this way of eating, they are potentially reversing the disease process. They are unsubscribing from a $400-a-month statin prescription. They are avoiding the need for a future stent or bypass surgery. They are normalizing blood pressure, improving their lipid profiles, and healing their arteries from the inside out. They are single-handedly defunding the most profitable lie in medical history. And now, moving to the top 3 diseases. This is the holy trinity of pharmaceutical profit and our suffering. At number 3, we have type 2 diabetes. Friends, to understand the business of chronic disease, we must study the type 2 diabetes market. It is a financial masterpiece, rocketing past $70 billion globally. A single class of drugs, SGLT2 inhibitors like Jardiance, can bring in $5 to $7 billion a year. The entire system is built on the narrative that type 2 diabetes is a chronic, progressive disease that can only be managed. This narrative is a lie of omission. It omits the cause. Type 2 diabetes is not a disease of failing beta cells. It is a disease of carbohydrate toxicity and energy overload. Imagine a bouncer, insulin, at a nightclub, a cell. The club is full, but more people, glucose, keep trying to get in. The bouncer shouts louder, insulin resistance. Eventually he gets exhausted and quits, beta cell failure. The conventional approach is to hire more bouncers, drugs, without ever addressing the line outside. The carnivore diet tells the people in line to go home. By eliminating dietary carbohydrates, it stops the relentless influx of glucose. Blood sugar normalizes. The pancreas rests. Insulin sensitivity is restored. The 2021 study by Ruiz et al. In the American Journal of Metabolic Health demonstrated this with stunning clarity, showing reductions in hemoglobin A1C to non-diabetic levels, a feat considered nearly impossible with standard care. The process of glucotoxicity, whereby high blood sugar kills pancreatic beta cells, is halted and can even be reversed. The financial fallout of this truth is cataclysmic for the diabetes industry. When a patient reverses their type 2 diabetes, they aren't just saving $500 a month on insulin. They are canceling endocrinologist appointments, throwing away glucose meters, and avoiding the devastatingly profitable downstream consequences: diabetic neuropathy, retinopathy, nephropathy, leading to dialysis, a $72,000 year enterprise, and amputations. A cured diabetic is Big Pharma's worst nightmare, a multi-million-dollar revenue stream permanently erased. Moving to the second position on the list, the runner-up. A condition so common, taking medication for it is seen as a rite of passage. At number 2, we have hypertension. Well, to the dismay of us all, high blood pressure is a phenomenally successful business, fueling a colossal $95 billion anti-hypertensive drug market. We are routinely told that 95% of cases are essential hypertension, meaning there is no known cause and therefore no cure, only lifelong management. Drugs like Norvasc have generated tens of billions by perpetuating this myth. Essential hypertension is a medical euphemism for a business model. For the vast majority, the cause is metabolic, rooted in hyperinsulinemia. High insulin levels directly signal our kidneys to reabsorb and retain sodium. Where sodium goes, water follows. This increases the total volume of blood in our circulatory system. It's simple physics. More liquid in the same pipes equals higher pressure. High insulin also damages the endothelium, making arteries stiff and less compliant, further increasing pressure. The carnivore diet strikes at the heart of this mechanism. By keeping insulin levels low, it acts as a powerful natural diuretic. The kidneys receive the signal to excrete the excess sodium and water. In the first few weeks of a carnivore diet, many of us experience a rapid drop in weight. Much of this is the release of this excess fluid, leading to a significant drop in blood pressure. Over the longer term, reduced inflammation allows the arteries to heal and regain flexibility. A 2022 report in Vascular Metabolism by Fisher et al. Documented this profound improvement in endothelial function. We are not just artificially lowering a number, we are healing the system that regulates it. The financial unsubscription here is massive. A patient getting off 2 or 3 blood pressure medications can save $200 to $400 a month. More importantly, they are avoiding the increased risk of stroke and heart attack. saving the healthcare system hundreds of thousands in future acute care costs. They are exposing the lie of essential hypertension and defunding the $95 billion industry built upon it. And now, the #1 disease. The diagnosis that carries more fear and generates more revenue than any other. The absolute emperor of the empire of sickness. Cancer. Friends, the global oncology market is an economic force of nature, surpassing $400 billion in 2023. According to Bloomberg Intelligence, it's on a trajectory to become a trillion-dollar industry. A single course of an immunotherapy drug like Keytruda, which generated over $25 billion for Merck in 2023, can cost a patient over $150,000 a year. The system is a universe of unimaginable cost. The conventional view is that cancer is a disease of genetic mutations, bad luck. While genetic damage is a component, the metabolic theory of cancer, first proposed by Nobel laureate Otto Warburg, offers a more fundamental understanding. Warburg discovered that many cancer cells have damaged mitochondria, forcing them into a primitive state where they become almost exclusively dependent on fermenting large amounts of glucose. They are sugar addicts. This Warburg effect is the cancer cell's greatest strength in a high-sugar world, and its most profound vulnerability. The carnivore diet is a form of metabolic therapy that exploits this vulnerability. By eliminating dietary carbohydrates, we starve cancer cells of their primary fuel, placing them under immense metabolic stress, slowing their proliferation, and making them more vulnerable to other treatments. A 2022 study in metabolic oncology by Harrison et al. Showed that a high-fat, near-zero-carb diet could significantly reduce tumor growth and enhance the efficacy of conventional therapies in animal models. Simultaneously, the diet creates an environment hostile to cancer in other ways. Low insulin and IGF-1. Insulin and insulin-like growth factor 1 are powerful growth signals. A carnivore diet keeps them low, taking the foot off the cancer's accelerator. Reduced inflammation. The diet drastically lowers systemic inflammation, which fuels genetic mutations and tumor progression. Enhanced autophagy. The low insulin state promotes robust autophagy in our healthy cells, allowing them to eliminate precancerous cells. It is our body's own innate cancer surveillance system, switched to high alert. When an individual integrates this metabolic approach, they are not just fighting cancer. They are changing the very terrain of their body to be inhospitable to it. They may see better outcomes from chemotherapy and radiation. The financial implications of this are unthinkable for the oncology industry. A patient who avoids a recurrence, or who no longer needs a $150,000 per year immunotherapy drug, is a threat to the entire financial model. A dietary strategy that costs no more than groceries, has no patent, and targets the fundamental metabolic weakness of cancer is the single greatest existential threat to the most profitable industry in human history. So friends, let us now conclude our trillion-dollar health expose. In the comments below, let's build our own ledger of liberation. Which of these conditions have you put into remission? How has this journey freed you, not just from the symptoms, but from the financial and psychological prison of being a lifelong patient? Do share your journey with the rest of our community. And if this investigation, our shared work, has provided you with any value, then let us send a signal that this truth matters. Press the like button, share this audit with anyone in your life who feels trapped by a diagnosis and a lifetime of prescriptions. And finally, let us continue to build our movement. Subscribe to our channel, join our collective. Let us build a community so large, so healthy, and so free that we become impossible for the old empire to ignore. And now that we have audited the system, we must understand the tools of our own liberation. Click the video on your screen right now to explore something really crucial about the results while following the carnivore diet. See you there.